Welcome to Learn and Love Music. I'm Duane Hulbert. Today we're going to look at one of the big five sonatas of Beethoven, his last pieces that he wrote in the sonata form. Hopefully we'll be able to look at all of these sonatas over time, but today we're going to explore the Opus 110. It's an A-flat major. It's sort of the quieter, more introspective piece in this group of five. I'm going to give you 4 reasons why this piece is unique among all of the 32 sonatas that Beethoven wrote. Before we begin though, I want to encourage all of you to subscribe to our channel. We want to see you back again. So let's look into this great piece by Beethoven, his Sonata Opus 110. Reason number 1 why this Beethoven sonata is so unique. It has a quiet opening. And it starts in a very beautiful way. There are 2 words that Beethoven writes at the beginning of this piece. One is amabilite, and that means in Italian, graceful and charming. He also has another word that he writes underneath it is sanft, which just means softly. Unlike a lot of the other sonatas in this group, it's not a loud or fast sonata in a sense. It's beautiful, charming, very, very lyrical. Listen to how this Opus 110 sonata begins. He does it with sort of like an introduction. Here's the introduction. Then he goes into the body of the piece here. The melody. No other Beethoven sonata has that kind of lyricism and gentle intensity at the beginning of the piece. Reason number 2. Beethoven puts a lot of technique in this piece with 32nd notes, but he doesn't do it like he did in the other sonatas because he does it very quietly, but very difficult. I found that when I worked on this passage of the 32nd notes, which appears on the first page, it's marked leggermente, or very, very light touch. But I find that being able to play a fast touch light is very difficult. I want to talk a little bit about the technique in this passage. It's written, Beethoven writes it with the right hand starting out, then he puts the stems going down, so then his left hand, and then he switches back. A lot of people do that with one hand. I find that a little scary. I like to use the left hand to sort of cross over, maybe give the right hand a little bit of a break. So it's kind of an acrobatic look to it as well. So let me play that leggermente passage in A-flat major. And mind you, it's much easier to play that piece forte or mezzo forte. To play it piano as he wrote it is very, very challenging. You just have to sort of dance off the keys in order to get the right sound. Number 3, Beethoven uses a much wider range of the keyboard than he did in his earlier works. Because Beethoven's piano, when he was in the early pieces, it might have only gone from here to here, but now it goes even further, so the notes go from a low E flat to maybe a high C, something like that. So, but what Beethoven did is he wanted to use the full extent of this new modern piano, not a forte piano that similar to what Mozart played, but a true piano with that wide range. And you'll hear this passage on the 2nd page, which shows sort of the upper range of the piano. Here we have. It reminds me of a music box, but he also uses the extension at the bottom of the piano as well with lower notes. And here we have lower notes. So Beethoven's piano, as time went, expanded in both directions. And that gave him a lot more options in what notes to use. So this is the beginning of the Romantic period, where the piano range got wider and wider. Beethoven loved to be able to work in that larger space as a composer. Reason number 4, Beethoven uses abrupt key changes. He started this with some of the sonatas that came before that. The Appassionata Sonata had some of that, and some of the other Opus 101 and some of the other late sonatas. But this one had a very abrupt key change. What happens is that the piece has been going along in the key of A flat major. Actually, he's in D flat major, all kind of related keys. But there's a huge change. Listen to this. This is marked Dolce. It's in D flat major here. Still D flat major. Now C sharp. B major, then suddenly he goes into E major, and then he goes back to those same arpeggios that we heard earlier in the piece, but instead of arpeggios in flat keys, he shifted to this major key of E major. To our ears, it sounds very distant and almost a little disjunct, but this is the future. In classical music, we had everything stayed in the same keys, but in the Romantic period, we started to have these key shifts, which gives much more color to the music. Beethoven was at the forefront of this key change idea. So I've given you 4 reasons why this sonata in A flat major is so unique, Opus 110. In the future, I want to look at those other 4 sonatas because they're all fantastic pieces. So stay tuned for that. Make sure and watch our companion video where I'll be playing the entire first movement of Opus 110. Don't forget to subscribe, and hope you've enjoyed this episode on Beethoven's Opus 110 Sonata. We'll see you next time on Learn and Love Music. I'm Duane Hulbert.